I was forced to stay awake for 30 days straight. What ended up happening will shock you. I was a part of what is now called the Russian sleep experiment. 5 of us were put into a room and a gas was released that made it impossible for us to sleep. We were all captured war prisoners. They were studying us to see what would happen if a human was awake for 30 days. Day 1, everything seemed fine. We were promised freedom after we completed the experiment. But as the days went on, our conversations grew darker and darker. Paranoia took hold of me and tore us apart by day 9. One of us started screaming uncontrollably until their vocal cords gave out. The rest of us smeared dirt over the glass so they couldn't see us. On the 15th day, they needed to know what was happening, so they turned off the gas and opened the door. They were not ready for the horrific scene they were about to walk into. Flesh torn, we consumed our own bodies, desperate to stay awake. We didn't want to leave anymore. We begged them to turn the gas back on, but they refused to help us. Somehow we were able to survive all of this, but we knew it would be the end if we fell asleep. Remember us, remember our torment. Follow for more stories.
So right now I'm standing in front of the driveway where Summer Wells disappeared. She vanished 2 years ago on June 15th, 2021, and it has been a mystery. Her parents were on Dr. Phil and they didn't search for her. It's just been a complete mystery. What happened to Summer Wells? Is she in these woods? Could she have been buried out here? Is she on the property? Did someone kidnap her, abduct her? Did an accident happen and was her body disposed? We don't know and we may never know. It's been 2 years. And this is where she lived with her siblings. The last time we were here, it was the winter time and there were tons of dogs on the property. The dogs were malnourished, not being fed. One of the dogs was actually dead. It had been run over by a car and its body was rotting over there. It was just left there like roadkill. We fed the dogs, we brought them food and treats because they were starving. Many times animal services had to come and rescue animals off of this property. Summer's parents, Dawn and Candace Wells, their children had to be taken away by CPS because the children were living in unsafe conditions. They were hungry, not being fed, they were not being bathed. The children were growing up in filth. The last time I was here 2 years ago, Summer's toys were scattered all along this hillside. Now it's very hard to see in this video, but this is a very steep slope and her house is at the very top of this small mountain. I mean, everything is overgrown, so I can't really see, but her toys were all over this hillside, even months after she had been missing. It was a very eerie sight to see.
A 16-year-old has been killed after an argument over McDonald's sweet and sour sauce. On the 27th of August, police responded to a call of a 16-year-old girl being treated in hospital for stab wounds. The teenager, Naima Ligon from Maryland, then sadly passed away from her injuries. It's believed that the fatal stabbing took place outside of a McDonald's in Washington, D.C. A detective announced that the stabbing occurred after a dispute over sweet and sour sauce between 3 girls outside of the restaurant. It's believed that they were all part of a group that had been to a party previously. Naima and another girl had apparently been assaulting the other teenager first, and she didn't appear to fight back. However, when the pair tried to get into a vehicle, it's believed that the other girl came at Naima with a knife. The girl was charged with second-degree murder, and they have found the murder weapon.
You guys, I just got off work and got to my hotel and checked my messages, and one of my followers was able to get the police scanner audio from when Ruby Franke was arrested. And it is absolutely insane. She had a panic room where she would keep the kids. Just listen.
LT, there's a panic room inside the garage, downstairs underneath the garage. Yeah, he says it's downstairs and it's underneath one of the garages, and he's calling it a safe room. He said something about Fort Knox, so I don't know if it has a Fort Knox door or safe on it, but that's what he's talking about.
10-4, we've got it, but we can't get into it.
My guess is that would be where they're at. He says it's a large room, it's a panic room.
This one says Liberty Safe Company. It's got a big wheel on the front.
I'm at the front door.
On this case that we're working, we have the custodial parent of the child in the ER. She just came to our PD and then she took off when we said cops will talk to her in a second. So we're hoping maybe someone can go to this. But the cop at the ER can restrict access from her to her kids. That's something you can relay to them. Her name is Ruby and her name should be in CAD comments.
Isn't that crazy? I bet she kept the kids in that room for their isolation time. Okay, so how did you interpret that? She was at the ER with Russell, and then cops told her that they would be talking to her in a little bit, and then she dipped out, and then went to the house and tried to hide the kids? Like, what? That lady is absolutely off her rocker.
Oh, not the Beverly police. You never come for Richard like this.
Alright, Dylan, it's Gav, by the way.
I know it's Gav.
Right, we're going to put the door in, so...
Gav, listen.
Right. I ain't messing about. With the information we're going to put the door in.
Listen, I'm not messing about, yeah?
Right, that's fine, but I'm just making it clear to you, open the door and we're putting it in.
Listen, Gav, I will tell you something now. I'm not in that property, so you do what you want, yeah? Like you did to every house. You won't get in that door anyway.
So we'll find out anyway, but I'm just having a...
Come on, over you, Ben.
Alright.
Come on, my big lad. You won't get in there, mate.
It's a good door, that. It's a good door. Yeah.
Listen, it's a good door. It's a very good door. Listen, you need chainsaws coming through that, lad.
Hey, we're getting sooner or later, you know we will, so... It's just a fact of
I'm
life,
not in
isn't
there.
Well, we'll find out.
Yes, you will find out, Gav.
A 55-year-old man has been arrested for essaying his 9-year-old niece who has special needs, but he says she essayed him. Trigger warning. On August 8th, the 9-year-old victim, who was in a special education class, complained to her teacher that her was hurt. Those concerns were relayed to a specialized teaching assistant, who accompanied the little girl to the school nurse. The school nurse determined the little girl probably had a UTI and made plans to call the child's mother about the issue. However, on the way back to class, the teaching assistant asked the little girl if she'd ever been touched inappropriately, and the little girl said yes, by her Uncle Ron. The girl replied back that her uncle did so when he wiped her. The teacher knew that this was a bit strange because this little girl could wipe herself. So the teacher asked, "What did he wipe you with?" And the girl says, "He used his bare hand." The teaching assistant told police that she immediately shared this horrific revelation with the special education teacher and started walking the victim to another school office. Then the girl said, "When he puts his privates in my privates, all I think about is going home." After hearing that, the teaching assistant began to cry, and she was comforted by the 9-year-old girl who hugged her and said it was okay. Oh my God, I can't. The teaching assistant then dropped the girl off with her teacher, took a break, and went to her car to cry again. The school contacted Indiana CPS, and the girl was taken to a specialized governmental center. During this interview, the girl went into detail about how her uncle SA'd her in graphic, shocking detail. The interviewer noted the girl kept moving back and forth, appearing to be uncomfortable throughout the interview, and when asked why, she said her privates hurt. When they asked her why she was hurting there, the girl said that she had been in pain ever since her uncle had schmegs with her. On August 9th, she was taken to the Peyton Mannings Children's Hospital, where an SA examination was conducted. The next day, the nurse there said there were significant signs of trauma, but they could not give police specific information until the full report was complete. She told officials that he had taken pictures and videos with his phone of him SAing her numerous times. So the next day, the Richmond Police Department interviewed Ronnie, and he agreed to speak with law enforcement. Ronnie said he thought the allegations of abuse may have stemmed from an incident where he had to change the diaper of the girl's older brother, who was 13 and autistic and nonverbal. During this incident, Ronnie claimed that the girl would not leave the room while he was undressing her brother, so he had to pick her up and remove her from the room. Ronnie stated that these children are his sister's children, both of them are special needs, and that the boy lives with him due to his medical condition. He said that caring for two special needs children was too much for his sister, so the little girl would come stay with him on the weekends, and the boy lived with him full time. He said the 9-year-old female victim visited him most weekends on Friday and Saturday, and then the girl's mother would pick her up on Sunday. So the investigator asked him had he ever inappropriately touched his niece, and he said that while teaching her how to properly wipe herself, he showed her how to do that while wearing a glove. Ronnie said she undressed, got into bed with him, forcibly removed his shorts, and then she essayed him. Oh, then he told police that he was asleep while she forcibly essayed him, but then he admitted he was awake during the essay. He said that she forced him to perform O on her by hitting him in the head and straddling him, becoming violent with him, and that he's the victim in this. Ronnie denied having an inappropriate relationship with his 9-year-old niece, but during the interview, his story began to shift. He admitted to 2 exact dates that he had essayed her. And I mean, he stated he had schmegs with her. His 9-year-old, disabled, special needs niece. So Ronnie was arrested after turning over his phone to law enforcement and consenting to provide a DNA sample. Allegedly, he is currently sitting in jail under a $50,000 bond. First off, where is their mother? Why are you leaving your 2 special needs children with your brother? Where are you? It's her responsibility as their parent to make sure they're not being hurt or violated by anyone. I mean, this child openly told 2 of her teachers, the nurse, the police, CPS, the hospital. Other people noticed she was uncomfortable, rocking back and forth. She said she was hurting there. This child is telling anyone who will listen about the abuse. But mom doesn't know about it? Sorry, nah, I'm not buying it. How do we know he's not been essaying the son? The son is autistic, nonverbal. He's disabled. He can't tell anyone anything. This man flat out lied about what he did to the 9-year-old. I'm telling you, they better check the boy too. How many times have I told y'all? These predators are usually the closest people to you. The courts claim he's facing 20 to 40 years in prison, but we all know that never happens. He'll strike a deal. In Indiana, he probably won't even pull no time for that. I want to just say thank you to the teacher's assistant and the special education teacher for standing up and doing something about this. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think mom knew?
So this is what I'm currently having a hard time understanding. I understand that this was a horrible, horrible crime scene. Horrible. There's no way you can STAB people and there not be blood everywhere. There's no way. It's impossible. And then for the alleged suspect, Bryan Kohberger, to go from the 3rd floor to the 2nd floor to the room where Zaina and Ethan was located, right across from the room where Dylan was, you cannot tell me there was not trails of blood outside of that room. You cannot tell me that. You cannot tell me that once Dylan left her room that morning, after she saw the man dressed in black, all she could see with his bushy eyebrows. Let me just stop you right there. So this is my first question amongst many questions, which I'm sure I'll never have the answer to. I'm the public, what I say don't matter. However, studying criminal law and just criminal evidence and procedure and just all of this stuff and just connecting the dot, Bryan Kohberger, the alleged suspect or suspects, I feel as though she's seen Bryan Kohberger. Like, that was in her affidavit. We know that. Obviously, allegedly at the time, she didn't know it was him, but she's seen this figure. So it is my opinion that I feel as though this figure would have been covered in blood. There's no way you can create, or there's no way you can partake in a horrific unaliving of 4 individuals, and how brutal as it was, to the point where they say Ethan's neck was and Zaina's fingers were almost severed. There's no way that this individual or individuals that committed this is not going to be covered in blood. So my question is, when she's seen the alleged person, did she not see that they were covered in blood? Was it completely dark? It couldn't have been completely dark, right? Because she saw this figure. She saw the eyebrows. Like, she saw that he had like this figure, like, not that he went to the gym, but that he was athletically built, or whatever her words were, per se. But it's just a lot that doesn't make sense to me. And I'm trying to be very sensitive to the matter. I am trying every which way to come to the surviving roommate's defense. But the more I dig into it, the more I look at this case, it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't understand how you can know you saw somebody in your house after opening your doors 3 times from hearing weird noises, not going to investigate it, not going to see what's up, in my opinion. And then you see a person in your house who don't belong. All you can see is their eyebrows, because apparently that they had, I'm assuming, they had on like a ski mask or something that was covering their face except for their eyebrows. So you saw that, you knew this person didn't belong. Even before then, you heard all these weird noises and stuff like that, and maybe, she was drinking or something and didn't put 2 and 2 together. I don't know. But you go back to your room, you do whatever for 8 hours, and then you wake up, you decide to call other people over because you can't reach your roommates, or you feel as though they are like unconscious, or whatever the case may be. I tried every which way to make this make sense, and I just can't make it make sense. Now, I could be completely off, absolutely, but it's no reasonable person can tell me her story makes sense. No reasonable person can tell me that, and it bothers my soul because I am not someone to victim blame or anything like that, but I am one to play devil's advocate, and I am one. I have the mindset, being with all the true crime that I watch, all the things that I've seen, all the things that I know with cold cases and everything in this true crime world, I have developed the mindset that everybody is suspicious to me at first. Everybody's suspicious to me at first until they prove to me otherwise. And I know in the court of law, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. But even when I meet somebody in my life, until you prove to me that you are, worthy of, me trusting you, or worthy of me being your friend or something like that, you got the side eye. I give everybody the side eye until they prove to me, who they are, or that they're not a monstrous person or something like that. But it just don't make sense to me. I tried every which way to flip this because I really thought maybe I'm just off. Maybe I'm just bugging. Maybe I'm just overthinking. But I just can't understand her story. I dissected it so many times. I tried to flip it in a way that it makes her look good, and it's just impossible for me. I don't know, but what do you guys think?
This 13-year-old boy was lured by another 13-year-old girl, then killed. These are the voice notes from Snapchat before, when they were arranging it.
You got poison in your heart, fam. Ollie, you're gonna die tomorrow.
The 2 boys who had fallen out with Ollie then tried to recruit a girl to help with their plan. One posted this message on Snapchat. Hated DZ refers to Ollie's username on social media.
Fam, this is the hated DZ1. Mr. Hated DZ1. Mr. Hated DZ1. I'm gonna kill it.
Oh, and by the way, I'm setting up Ollie today.
The 13-year-old girl who sent that message lured Ollie to the field where he was stabbed. She knew Ollie in real life, but hadn't met the 2 boys who killed him in person until the day of the murder.
Just wants me to set him up, so then he's gonna go and bang him and pattern him and shit. I'm so excited, you don't understand.
We got chased by armed feds around the whole of Reading, so now we're kind of wanted. There was armed police that jumped out and tried chasing me with guns and all that. But yeah, I'll FaceTime you as soon as I get through the front door.
This kid was murdered at 13 years old and lured by a 13-year-old girl to the place he would be killed. These are the voice notes she sent.
Because basically, when he texted me randomly, like yesterday, was like, "Oh, do you want cigarettes?" Like, obviously, I don't smoke cigarettes, but he just was like, "Oh, do you want some?" And he was like, "I'm gonna smoke, and you can smoke with me." So I was like, "Yeah," because Alex wants me to set him up. So Alex, B123 is gonna go and bang him and pan him and shit. I'm so excited, you don't understand. But what I'm worried about is that imagine he's trying to set me up. I don't know who with.
The 13-year-old girl who cannot be named due to her age had been given a sentence of 3 years and 2 months following the brutal killing of Ollie Stevens. The girl had coaxed Ollie to Bugs Bottom Field in Emmer Green, Reading, and had told friends that she was setting Ollie up. The younger boy, who was 13 at the time, used a knife to stab Ollie while the older boy, 14, was fighting with him. All three were sentenced in September to custody in young offender institutions by Judge Heather Norton. One older boy who had fought with Ollie was given a life sentence with a minimum term of 12 years.
Alright, so this is a story of how I went from having my bag stolen with my laptop to getting my laptop back, getting the thieves arrested, and helping to dismantle a theft network in the city of Brussels in 24 hours. My bag was stolen at a train station on a Friday night as I was going to the airport to go back to the US. I tried following the tracker, but I had a huge suitcase, so I was slow, and when I finally got there, I realized that they had gotten rid of the AirTag. So I went to the police station and got a report. Then, to my surprise, around midnight, the computer showed up on the map, but the police wouldn't do anything because they said the location was not precise enough and I needed to have the exact apartment number for them to go in. So I went to bed, and the next day the computer showed up at a different location, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I missed my flight because of these guys. I'm stuck in Brussels until the next Monday when the embassy reopens. I'm going to make it the whole purpose of my weekend to find these motherfuckers. So at 8 a.m. on Saturday, I went to this location. This is me in front of the house. I tried knocking, nobody answered, so I decided I would just stay there for the whole day until I saw them come out of the house. And 5 hours later, around 2 p.m., I finally saw them. These are the two guys who stole my bag. I took pictures of them. I was going to confront them, but then I decided against it, and looking back, this was incredibly good intuition because this would have been dangerous. Instead, I decided to follow them around the city, and I followed them for 3 hours. They never noticed anything. This is them right there. And to my surprise, the first place that they stopped at was this apartment building right here, which was the first location where my computer was found on Friday night. I sent all of that to the police, and then I followed them some more until they got to this local computer store, which is where they resell the stuff that they stole. And I also sent all of this to the police. At this point, I realized it's probably not a good idea to keep following them around. They're probably going to find me out at some point. So I went back to the house where my computer was and decided to wait for them to call the police. And I had to wait another 6 hours for them to come back at 9 p.m. on Saturday night. I called the police and they went in, they got my computer back, they arrested the guy in white. I so wish I had the footage of that. And to my surprise, this was a huge organized theft network. They had hundreds of devices, phones, computers, iPads wrapped up in aluminum. Police took everything in. They said it was the cavern of Alibaba and that I was a goddamn investigator, and the whole thing felt like a movie. Had I not caught them on the same day, the next day I was going to fly my drone in the open window of the building to film them and take pictures of them with my computer. And this is why you don't steal from someone who's tech savvy and has nothing else to do the whole weekend than to catch your ass.
Breaking news update on missing Paul from 90 Day Fiancé. In addition to the many posts that Karini posted this morning regarding Paul being missing, she also posted a life insurance policy post. Following that, she also said this is one of the people Paul asked his mom to contact. That person has now stated, "Hello everyone, I can't give much information because we don't have anything concrete to tell. We are looking to find out where Paul is. Unfortunately, we have to wait a certain time to call the police. Wholeheartedly, this is not a joke. I was lost until messages arrived telling me everything. I just asked the fan to pray for him, okay? I don't speak English, but I hope this translated right. I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments."
Light out. Everybody. It is